Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Tour of Music. My name is Avery,
My name is Caesar.
and today we're going to be doing another album review. We're actually really enjoying this. Essentially, what we're going to be focusing on is, I know we discussed that we're going to be doing punk. We really want to touch on, we feel like, one album that would make it really easy to get into the genre. Not necessarily so much the history, because some songs have come before this, but this album in particular we're talking about today is going to be like kind of one of the staples in punk, and like we feel like as long as you listen to this, like it'll really make it easy to listen to the genre. So we're trying to expand everybody's musical palette, and this album that we're going to be talking about today is by the band Descendents. It was released in 1982, and it is called Milo Goes to College. Now, I'm personally more, I think, versed in punk than Caesar. But Caesar, you said you listened to it last week a little bit and earlier?
Yeah. So I listened to it a few days ago, and then I was listening to it again today. And honestly, man, I really like it. I like the speed of it. I've always enjoyed punk music, but I just never really dove into it and, started listening to artists. But I've always been one to like kind of listen to it and enjoy it, especially live.
Oh yeah. Live
Live
punk
is
is
like
something else, dude.
It doesn't have to be any known band or anything, but just listening to it live and being there.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
I know. I remember before COVID, which sounds crazy to even say. I was going as a photographer. I was shooting a couple shows with an old friend that I used to know, and they were part of like this band, and we would go and like just shoot. I mean, it was always there was one show. Do you know the band DRI?
DRI? No,
No.
I don't think I'm familiar.
So they're like huge in punk and like almost thrash metal scene, and they were headlining, but they had a lot of openers before, and this friend's band was there, and I just remember how crazy it got. It was at a. Are you familiar with like the veteran? What are those places called? They're like venues, but they're sponsored by like veteran something, and they're all over the country. But to put it in perspective, it's like the Rio Hondo Library. It's like maybe like a quarter of that size. So It's like really small. It's almost like the
So
meeting
it's tiny,
rooms.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like super small. And I remember, watching all the openers. It was like not that packed. And then when DRI opened up like 2 hours later, it was fucking packed. And everybody's shoving. It's just so dirty, but it's so much fun too. Just the music.
Oh man, no, like I said, I've never really dove into bands, listen to albums on my own, but just being like going like after high school, going to live performance and stuff. I remember like it was just like a big scene like in the East LA area of like just bands playing in backyards. I don't know if it's still going on. Probably is.
Yeah.
But so we were going to shows all the time, and man, that shit was fun. I mean, like I said, I wasn't super into punk, but I love listening to the super fast music, just being in the mosh, bouncing around off people.
Yeah.
You get hit a little bit, but it's a good time.
Or a lot of it. You get really hit bad.
Yeah. I'm a small guy, honestly. I've got knocked down a couple times, but I don't care.
Honestly,
it's a good time in there.
Honestly, dude, I'm too afraid to hop in the mosh, dude. Like, I'll just be on the outside because, I don't know, I'm not like a big fighter, dude. And, like, I like the music.
I am in no way a fighter either, but like, it's just like, I don't know, it's a form of dancing, I feel like. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Because like, the music is going through you and you're running, you're bouncing off someone. And it's not like I'm trying to fight, but you're throwing your elbows around, you might get fucking hit. Or some people some people get crazy and then they just take it as like an opportunity to really fight. But
yeah, those guys are dicks, man. Those ones ruin everybody else. Dude, there's always that one like, asshole, bro. Man.
I'm not really trying to get socked in the face here, bro. It's like your elbow hits me on accident, it's like that's one thing, but like if you're coming up to me like you know what I mean? Nah, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, I know. There's always that one guy, and this goes for like any concert, but there's always that one guy that is just projecting and hasn't been to therapy, and like
he's a little too drunk,
and he's a little too tipsy, and then he wants to just take all his frustration out on like one person, which is, by the way, anyone's listening, that's like, it happens, but it's not what punk shows are all about. Like, moshing is actually like a organized thing, and like when people fall, you are supposed to help people up. You don't throw punches. It's like, it's more shoving and like going in motion with the wave.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
yeah.
It's like you're going with the wave, and sometimes you get rocked a little bit because people are drunk, people are moving.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about punk. Yeah, no, it is actually very supportive when it's right and somewhat safe, as safe as punk can be. But overall, I mean, punk shows are just so much fun. I feel like they're very fun in the sense that, like, when it comes to music, like we just covered Black Star, which is all about diving super deep and having such an expanded mind in one way, like opening up yourself to boundary pushes. I feel like punk is almost like the antithesis of that, in the sense that you still have to open your mind, but in the sense that don't expect much. Does that make sense? Like, have your mind open, but don't expect anything. Like, just enjoy being in angst without, like, what does this mean? Or what are these lyrics? Like, and a lot of punk songs do have a lot of great lyrics, like Dead Kennedys. And there's a lot of albums, guys, that we would love to cover. But like I said, we're focusing on like one album that will kind of get everybody into the feeling. But punk is, to me, at least for me personally, has always been just about like letting loose and just screaming and like not having to pay attention to anything,
Yeah, see, like when I'm listening to punk, I am in no way trying to understand what the hell they're saying as far as like lyrics wise.
Yep.
It's hard. It's very difficult, especially
So
like the way I listen to it live. Yeah, no, there's no way. It's just screaming fast,
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a great feeling, and like the actual music and the speed of it, the energy. It's like there's nothing like it. It's awesome.
Exactly. Oh, that's a great segue.
I looked up that band. Well, real quick, I just want to say,
Sure.
I looked up that band that you're talking about, DRI. It stands for Dirty Rotten Imbeciles.
Yep, that's exactly what it stands for. Yeah, dude.
That's looking great.
It's so
dude.
funny. Oh, it was funny because I went with my dad to go see the show because he was a huge DRI fan. He still is.
No way.
Yeah, he was a huge fan. And then when he heard that, like, I just casually threw the name out there because I didn't know about them at the time. And he's like, "Are you serious? Dude, we gotta go. Can I go with you?" And I was like, "Sure, dude, take me." And we went together, and we ended up buying like DRI shirts. And I don't think he realized who was selling the shirt. But then I go to look up the pictures, and I don't know if you're looking at the picture right now, but the main singer, who I think he's wearing a hat, he's got like long hair and a beard, I think. He was the one selling the shirt.
No way.
Yeah, because it was just a punk show. You know them. They don't give a shit about notoriety or fame and all that. So he was the one selling the shirt. I didn't realize until I went home. I looked at it next morning. I was like, oh my God, this is the guy we bought the shirt from. It was only like $10.
No way.
Yeah, it was tight, dude. It was really, really cool. He was selling it on like a fold-up plastic table. It was.
Have you ever seen Trailer Park Boys?
Yes, I have.
This guy looks like Julian. Is that the one you're talking about? The guy who looks like with the goatee and the super long black hair.
Let me see. Let me look that up real quick. Damn, bro, what's going on, man? Sorry, my YouTube thing was like all fucking up. This is DRI.
You're good.
39 episodes. Let me see. Here's a picture. Let's see. Look at the later picture. Oh, I think that was him. I'm pretty sure that was him. Now I'm looking at them. I don't even remember their faces. That's weird. But I'm pretty sure it was that guy. Yeah, because that seems like the guy that was. Yep, I think that was him. Yeah.
That's fucking funny, dude. Yeah, that guy looks just like Julian.
Yeah, he does, dude. That's hilarious. Oh my God, that's fucking hilarious. But yeah.
Great show.
Yeah, we had to leave early because it was getting absolutely insane. We were like, dude, someone's gonna get stabbed here. I mean, oh my God. I hope we're not scaring anyone away from punk, but
yeah,
it was just,
right now that sounds awfully scary.
Yeah, no, it was one of those shows. But overall, I've always had good experiences, and it's just like with anything. You go out anywhere, you have to keep an eye out for anything. Even if you're going for a restaurant in downtown Los Angeles, dude, you can't just be walking around all willy-nilly. You keep your head on the
Extremely true.
Unfortunately,
I think you especially got to keep your guard up at a concert like that.
Yeah, there's so many people there, so you just gotta be careful. But let's get to the album. So we've had our personal experiences with punk. So we're gonna be doing Milo Goes to College. It's a 22-minute album, 15 songs, 22 minutes. So just so you guys are aware, punk tends to have short songs, very fast, angst, short and right to the point. Lots of energy. And this album for me stuck out when my friend showed it to me. It was just kind of one of those albums that's like you could I don't know, it's just got so many hits. Like it's just so much fun to listen to. It's just really easy. And then so we'll be doing like an album analysis, but for this it's more about just talking about the album, what makes it stand out as like a beginner's guide to like punk. So yeah, you know, it's not going to be as deep as David Bowie, of course, but we'll still be getting into like what makes it sound good and all that good stuff. And because it's such a short album, we'll be able to listen to it all the way through and through, and all the songs are short, so there's no need to snip it out anything. But the longest song on here is the second to last track, which is 2 minutes and 14 seconds, and there's like half of these songs are under a minute. So, but you
that's
guys,
awesome. But like that's I feel like that perfectly represents not the shows that they're short, but like, you know, like just like the high intense frequency. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
And then boom, it's done, and then to the next one. You know?
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah. Like I want people that are listening to like go into this with like just have fun. Like don't expect so much out of it. It's fun to sometimes like, just be, you know, plain.
I mean, like that band's name was Dirty Rotten Imbeciles. You know, obviously they're not taking themselves seriously. You're not supposed to take this seriously as some great, you know. Exactly. But just enjoy it.
Yeah. Punk is all about just giving a big middle finger to anyone that tries to subjectify art in a way that's not progressive. You know, tries to gatekeep art or whatever. So that's why I like punk a lot too. But without further ado, let's get into the first song. This is gonna be My Age, which is pretty much, if you space it out, My Age, but I say My Age because it's one word, by the Descendents. This is the first track off the album. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Shit goes hard, dude.
Yeah,
it
fun.
Sounds like a great time, dude.
I'm like sitting here in my chair trying not to like smash my fist in my monitor right now.
Dude, right? I was trying to not make any noise because I know my chair makes some noise if I'm like rocking
I know.
back and forth. But
yeah, I mean, what did you think? Like, what are your thoughts on the opening song for this album? Like, let's say like you went out, let's say the year is 1982. You're a teen, your age now. You walk into Amoeba or a music store and you say, "Hey man, what's
listening to Michael Jackson, right?"
Yeah, and you're like listening. You're like, "Hey man, I'm looking for some new genres. Like, what should I listen to?" And the clerk says, "Hey man, try this out. Put this in your CD player," and you put it in. And what do you think after these 2 minutes?
Oh my god, dude! I'd say, oh my god, that fucking drummer kicks ass. That drummer's fucking amazing.
Yep.
And yeah, it makes me want to fucking break some stuff and run around. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it just
dude.
makes you like feel free. It's crazy.
Yeah, hell yeah. I think, and you know, earlier we were kind of talking about like punk isn't like this crazy and like technical thing, but It kind of is, because the Descendents is, from what I've learned too, is like they have a really solid band where like the instrumentation is really good. Like the drummer is solid. He is on time. I mean, he's on point with everything, I mean, he's really solid. I mean, hitting those, and that's hard, dude, to be playing that fast, that consistently,
Dude, it's like, it sounds almost like jazz drumming, you know what I mean?
Because it's all fast. Yeah, it's just tight and locked into like not a swung beat like jazz would be, but it is very tight and just full of energy. And it is, punk. We could say punk is jazz in the sense that it's just all about your feelings.
Yeah, creating whatever the hell you want.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that those of you who are listening, that was My Edge by Descendents. So that would be a great song to start off with. Let's dive into the next song.
Dude, that's a great song to get you in the feel for the album. Just like start it off,
Yeah.
Like, why? If I heard that song, I'm like, there's no way I'm not gonna listen to the rest of the album.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I mean, it's such a fun song, and I think what makes it even more fun is the vocalist Milo. He's a great vocalist. It's like fun, such a unique voice. It reminds me of like you hear his voice and like, oh, I know this is the Descendants. Not just the song and the sound of them, but like his voice is fun to listen to. It reminds me, it's exciting. It's fun to listen to a new voice. It reminds me of like what's another artist that's like out now, whether it's new music or whatever, that like you hear their voice and you're like, yeah, like this is fun to listen to. I think who was like that for me? James Brown for sure. James Brown was like punk basically, but if it was R&B and funk, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I would say like maybe Aretha Franklin, like Frank Sinatra, like anybody from the past.
Oh, Frank Sinatra's voice is like intense.
Yeah.
But dude, for me, it's always been Bowie. Bowie's always had like
that's true.
That I love.
Yeah, and I like that it changed over the years too, which is always so much fun to listen to.
But for me, he's always been like on the top of.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get into the next song, which is it's called "I Want to Be a Bear." It's only 43 seconds long, so shouldn't be too hard to listen to. And then we'll just kind of talk about it a little bit. Here is "I Want to Be a Bear" by the Descendants. That's it. That's the second song. I Want to Be a Bear. I want to look up the lyrics for this so we can talk about this. But what do you think? That one's fun. I mean, like all these are just so much fun. There's like a theme going on, and yet it's like so much fun. Even though it's short, it's fun. Punk is just fun.
Dude, I was about to say, man, but like as I was getting in the feel of it, it's over.
I know, yeah. And then
it's done before you know it.
Yeah, and here for the podcast, of course, we're like cutting in between songs. But as a listener, if you're listening to this through and through, these songs are just gonna have this nice blend of like one big fat song, just because they're so short and because they have this really similar sound. And you would think it would be boring, but I've heard boring punk music before, and this isn't boring. I just feel like the production is good too. I mean, you can hear everything. You can hear the bass rips through. I'm noticing like I can really spot the bass. Usually you don't hear that in punk. It's very hard to like decipher which instruments are going on, but the drums are tight,
Yeah, the drums are amazing again. But like you said, the bass sounds great. And even like on the first song, I forgot to mention that, but there's great bass riff that you can hear going through too, like along with the drums. Sounds badass. Yeah,
it's a tight mix. The guitar rips, the bass pushes through the low end and doesn't get bottled out by the drums and then the singing. His voice is, I don't know if like someone else could do what he's doing, in the sense that like, if you want to get technical, like his voice rips through the music. I've heard some other punk bands where the voice doesn't really rip through, and for him it kind of blends in really well. That it's got this piercing growl to it that really kind of like pushes him over the top, where you can still listen to his music, which is fun. But I'm gonna read some of these lyrics.
That's funny though you say that, because like his voice does sound like a growl, almost like a coyote singing.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think that's why I like it too, because it's just fun to listen to someone be different, So let's see. I guess someone analyzed this 43-second track and said, on this track, Milo talks about the common courting rituals of adolescence and wishes for a more simpler life that's free from the stress of trying to get girls, which would kind of be making sense with the title I Want to Be a Bear, in the sense that he's saying humans are cis, like humans are boring. I want to be a bear. I want to shit in the woods, in my cave, hunt my prey, could be you. I want to have food. Saying like, he's like, dude, fuck all this like societal standard shit. Like, I just want to eat and take shits wherever I want.
Hey, dude, that's fucking punk, though. That's punk to its bare bones.
Exactly. It's fun.
Like being like anti-society.
Yeah, as equally intense as like Bowie can be with his lyricism, and I feel like this is what's so fun about music in general, and punk is like really important to me. I love punk. I think it's one of the best genres to ever come out. It's the polar opposite of being so intense and so deep and philosophical and, you know, theoretical. On the other side, you have something that's equally intense, but it's so, it's not shallow, because it's not. It's like, it's minimal. It's just about feeling and less of thinking, you know, like, don't think, just feel. And I feel like that's like super like needed in a world where everyone teaches you like, oh, you gotta think this. Like, sometimes you need a balance, and you just want to not think. You just want to feel shit, you know. And overall, you just want
to feel the emotions of the music.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
I looked at the last lyric, the outro of the song. It says, I don't want to smell your muff. I'm trying to figure out exactly what they mean by muff. Yeah. But I'm guessing it's like your ass or your fart or something.
Thinking,
you know what I mean?
I'm thinking shit or something. It's so funny, dude. Burgers.
Oh my god. I see somewhere. I think slang vulgar for a woman's pubic area. I don't know, man. I don't know what they're trying to reference here. But I like it.
It's funny. I love it, dude. This album's so much fun to listen to. And like, the more you listen to it, the more you start like deciphering lyrics, and then like you can laugh alongside. And it's kind of what MF Doom does for me too. Not to get too off track, but I like artists that can make me laugh, dude. You know, usually with music, I'm so intense and so thoughtful with it, and like to have music that can equally make me laugh as hard as I can think with other stuff is like super fun. To be able to like laugh it off at some witty lyrics, you know.
Dude, I love artists like that, like Little Dicky, man. I like more of Little Dicky.
Hell yeah, cracks me up. MF Doom makes me laugh hard with his lyrics, just flaming everybody. Oh my god,
he's like smart, like super smart.
He's
you know what I mean?
Hell,
like,
dude, yeah.
In
this right hand is your man's worst nightmare. Like, oh my god, this shit's hilarious. Talking about his microphone. Okay, so let's get into the next one then. We'll do Descendents again, of course. This is the third track off of the album. It is called I Am Not a Loser, and it's only 1 minute 30 seconds, so we'll let everybody listen to it all the way through, and we'll read the lyrics afterwards.
I'm not a loser. Cruise on the boulevard, wasting mommy's cash while you're looking for the kicks on Friday night. All I go in life is smoke a joint. Decide how you're gonna get laid tonight. You're a fucking son of a bitch. You arrogant assholes. Your pants are too tight. You fucking homos. You suck. Mr. Butt Fuck. You don't belong here. No way, you fucking gay. I'm not a loser.
That's energy.
Right. That song was honestly saying a lot of like crazy shit though.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I was playing. I was like, there's a lot of good shit actually being said in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, but go ahead, talk about it. Yeah, dude.
Well, first of all, like talking about like because I got holes in my shoes. And then he says, is like, think my cock is like just like my dirty shirt.
Yeah.
Interesting. But I know, like, he's just talking about, like, how, yeah, he might look all ratty, he might look all fucked up, but honestly, he's working his ass off with his music and working his ass off playing shows, and you know what I mean? Because then he says, because I'm working 60 a week. I'm sure he was working like 60 hours or something close to do it, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then it's like, in the pre-chorus talking about, like, you think your life is really tough when your daddy won't buy you a brand new car. Take your girl out, she won't fuck you. Just bought a gram of coke. Spent all your money on shitty coke. I love it. Just talking about pretty much like, you think you have problems? Nah. There's no real problems anymore in our society right now. Unless you're facing life or death, obviously. But like, all those problems, you know, they're just bullshit.
Yeah, I like that. See, this is what I like about punk too, is like, you'll get these lyrics that are very in tune with like what's going on. Like here he's saying that, like, you know, just because he doesn't have money, like he's not, like, just because he's not financially successful, quote, doesn't mean that he's a loser in the human sense. Like, he's struggling in life, he's working hard, and he's calling out everybody that's got money and complains that, like, oh, like, wow, life is so tough, and yet, like, here he is not complaining, and like, while you're complaining that, you know, things like that, like new car and not being able to, I don't know, have sex with the girl you like or whatever, blah blah blah, like, just calling someone else a loser just because they don't have money, like, you don't know what they've been through, you know, like, who are you to say what someone else is, you know? And I feel like, you know, this is a great song for that. I did want to point out on the outro though, I noticed this part here and I was like a little caught off guard. But Milo actually, this kind of makes me happy because this kind of really opens up the conversation for this. Obviously, there was, and you know, this is 1982. A lot of stuff was still very out there and pretty rude. But you know, using homosexuality as a slur and derogatory, Milo said, "A song like I'm Not a Loser is completely unfiltered. That can come with some negatives too. Frank wrote that, and at the time, it was the ultimate teenage rage. It was targeting not gay people, but the jocks at our school. The language is the hot button. These days, I've altered that. I want to get across the point of you suck, but it's been misunderstood. We have a few songs that we've come to regret how they've been interpreted." So, Milo was talking about the outro, which I'm not going to repeat. But
yeah,
just,
there's some homophobic slurs.
Yeah,
in there for
and you know, Milo, I'm glad that he, you know, decided to talk about it, and I'm sure what he's talking about is these days I've altered that is in his new writings, and all of them, the band, they don't do that anymore. And also, I'm sure when they go live, they probably don't repeat the lyrics, and they've probably changed it to just "you suck," which is what he was saying, you know. But we know, like in the 80s, I mean, it was so common, unfortunately, to use that kind of language. And I think this is what's kind of like interesting about music too, is like it's kind of like a history thing in itself. And I'm actually really thankful to see that Milo's called himself out for it. I think that's like really appreciative, you know. I mean, being a teenager in the 80s, I mean, that was a thing. Like, it's so sad to see like how things happen, but I'm so glad to see these things get better. And I think, I don't know, I feel like this is actually like, it's awesome to see that he was honest about it. Like, we know, like, gay was thrown around so much as a slur. Like, I even remember just in elementary school, like, using it as a way to describe something that you don't want to do, you know? And I think, you know, like he says, the language is a hot button. Like, that was a way to say, like, that's stupid. And he says, these days I've altered that. So actually, I just wanted to point that out for everybody listening. I know it caught you too. I was like, oh man. But Milo did say that, you know, this isn't what he was intending, and he regrets it. But he says,
I mean, yeah. I mean, that I'm looking at those are pretty intense lyrics. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it is.
Because yeah, it's one thing to say, you know, like gay and stuff like that, but yeah, they do say some intense stuff that is would definitely with cancel culture today. I think if this was like on the main, even if he did apologize, I'm sure he'd still get canceled. You know what I mean? Like if this came out, like if he was, you know, like very more mainstream, of course.
Yeah.
But no, that is good for him to go back and, you know, admit when he was wrong and alter the lyrics and stuff just because,
Yeah.
you don't want that hate going around. That's messed up.
And I'm sure, like you said, he says, I've altered that. I mean, this is 1982, and it's in the punk shows. I mean, it was, how long has it been even until, like, what, 2000s? Even, like, 2010, where people were finally like, hey, maybe it's not okay to, use someone's sexuality as a slur or as a way to talk
as
about
like
something you
an
don't
insult,
like.
call someone like a loser by calling them that. Or
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, that was okay. Well, not okay, but like that was being done.
It was considered.
So,
It wasn't really considered. And now, this is 80, so this is 20 years before, or 30 years before I was even in elementary school and still hearing that kind of stuff. So, I expect it. And honestly, like I've seen so many other old bands just use stuff like that. But, I get what he was trying to do. But I'm glad he's, talked about it. And I like that he says, these days I've altered that. So when they perform, they don't say it anymore. I think that's really, really good to say. I feel like more artists should be open to just being upfront about it, I like that he even contributed it, like it's one contributor. Yeah, that's cool. I just wanted to point that out for everybody listening, that he didn't just ignore it, and that was a thing. So, see, and like punk people aren't just jackasses, they're honest people, most of them, unless you have like Johnny Rotten, who was punk for the Sex Pistols and then is a Trump supporter now. Like, what? Like,
how does that even happen, dude? How does that even happen?
No fucking.
How are you gonna be completely against the system and then go for fucking?
Doesn't make sense. I don't get it. But then again, you just have some people that just suck. And then you have other people like Milo who are really respectable and honest. But let's get into the next song, "Parents" by Descendents. This is their next track after that one. And this one, let's see, how long is Parents? So we can let everybody know. Yeah, it's not, again, under 2 minutes, a minute 39. So right. This is
all these songs.
Little backstory. This is actually, I think, one of my favorite songs. I listened to like when when I was younger. I was like, I'm so mad. Like my parents, like, everybody's been through that phase. And I remember just like listening to this and be like, yeah, dude, why won't they shut up? They're so fucked up. It was just young and dumb. It was still fun to listen to. It brings you back.
When you're a kid, you feel like your parents are your enemy, and they're like, oh wait, they were trying to help me this whole time.
They're really trying to protect me, so it's funny. But let's give everybody a listen for the Parents by the Descendants. I can't get over his voice, dude. It's so aggressive.
Right. No, his voice is badass. He's got the perfect voice to sing live, man.
I know.
Just shouting and screaming.
I know. Like, you wonder, like, what's wrong? Like, is his throat still alive after all these years?
Dude, right? You can't be. There's no way you perform like that for 40 years.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean...
it's
just...
Your throat would be ripped.
Yeah, I know. That's what I think. Like, thinking about, like, even, like, artists like Björk who have crazy loud voices, like... But even then, like, they don't scream as much and, like, sing from the throat as, like, this guy, dude. Like, I don't know. I've tried singing along to it in that, and I don't know. I can't. I like it's hard. Like I'll sing them. I start coughing like.
No, yeah. I remember being at the shows and stuff, and then by the end of the night, from like screaming along all night, oh my god, it's like your throat is just so dry.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, your throat's super dry.
So dry and like fucked up, you know. I should mess you up.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's. I don't know. It's still that song. Let's see. Parents is one of my favorites because I can always sing along to because I know all the lyrics. But I think. As we get later into the album, like Suburban Home is really good. Kabuki Girl is so catchy, dude. Yeah, I mean, watch when we get down there. I think we'll recommend. I think that would be the song. Like, listen to the album all the way through and through. But Kabuki Girl, I feel like is the one that everybody should start with. It'd be freaking awesome. But yeah,
I don't remember that one off the bat.
Oh, cool. Then we get to hear like almost first impressions for you today, which is really exciting. Cool. So let's see. The next song is Tony Age. A lot of age stuff in here, which is fucking hilarious. But this is gonna be Tony Age. Again, only 57 seconds. Okay, I don't know.
That's really badass. I think it's my favorite song so far.
That's what I was gonna say, dude. That's what I was gonna say right now. Like, it was only 56 seconds, but there's so much going on, and even just from like a musical nerd standpoint, there's a key change I hear at the end. There's a tempo change, and that was really common in punk to have like these breaks where like you just go really fast and come back down slow. But it makes it exciting, even for like someone who listens to music like critically or whatever. Obviously the lyrics are very childish and on purpose, but they're basically just talking about like, I feel like they're just talking about themselves and like, because obviously one of the guys' name is Tony, and I think they're just talking about like people that talk shit to them, like the New Waver, which was about like punk rock that was coming out new but was more like newer style, like almost like beach punk, and just like
it was a little like kind of more poppier.
Yeah, I feel like they're just
like
talking about
punk.
Yeah, like everybody that comes to them and says stuff about them, you know, like she's more poser than you are. Like, is everybody like hating on them? I guess for just doing what they're doing, you know? It's fucking hilarious.
Well, I'm looking at the lyrics, man, and honestly, I'm impressed that it's just like more like I feel like it's like a poem.
Yeah,
you know, and like there's nothing that repeats.
That's true. Yeah, there's no chorus.
That's why it's just like I don't know. It's kind of just like a poem with this crazy tempo, and then boom, it's over. You know?
Yeah, but it's so much
like,
fun.
That's why like it's different. It's so different than like what you're normally your normally built song. You know?
Yeah. There's no song structure, but yet there is. It almost was like
it doesn't follow the rules of normal music. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. The tempo change, like the key change. I mean, I don't know. It's just so much to like take in at 56 seconds that like you got to go back like, oh, what was that, and you play it back again, and you just like it has a lot of replay value for the sense that it's all over the place, but it still sounds good. I'm always fascinated with like artists that can do that, you know, like we talked about in the last couple episodes, like with Bowie, he does that really well, but they do it equally as well or similarly in a totally different way. And like I had a lot of fun listening. I was like, oh my god, like yeah, oh here's the next part. Oh here's the next part. Oh, it's over already. What? It's only been a minute.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, that's how it really makes you feel like, yeah, I'm into it. Boom,
it's
done.
So much to take in such a short time.
It really is.
Tony H. It's funny names too, make me laugh. All right, here's the next song. This is gonna be called M16, which would be their what song is this? Track number 6, M16. Let's give it a listen.
your empathy. Go shoot your empathy. Go shoot your empathy. I'm not gonna live your American dream. I'll be like the front of me to the center of the state. Got a rebel in my sights, when it's war that is not to kill. It's fun. Shoot up, you're better than him. Shoot up in the eye. Shoot up, it gives you a thrill. Just like as a kid, only now it's real. I'll be like the front of me to the center of the state. Got a rebel in my sights, when it's war that is not to kill. It's fun.
Dude, 43 seconds and yet so political.
Dude, fucking crazy. Yeah, like listen to this lyric. Shoot him, it gives you a thrill just like as a kid, only now it's for real. Like
Yep. Yeah, dude. Oh my god, this song, I'm like sitting here
Still
smiling
save
cheek to
democracy.
cheek, dude. Got a rebel in my sight. Money's worth more than his life, so kill it's fun.
that is a politically charged.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this could sit as a poem, like away from like the music and stuff. Like just reading it has a cadence of like a poem. This is like complete opposite of the last song. The last song had no structure. This one has a chorus, and it has like a like overall repeating motif. And the stanzas are in the same like rhythm and stuff, and it's like I could read it by
It really
itself.
does look like a poem. Yeah,
Right?
no, like looking at it, the structure.
Yeah.
Like the first one, go shoot your M16, repeats that a bunch of times, and then
Mhm.
verse 2, shoot him, but rather than him, shoot him. Yeah, like it repeats itself, and yeah, that chorus in the middle.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool structure. I like that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
too.
like I still feel like it doesn't follow the same. Maybe because it's just so short, but I feel like it's a real poem with this crazy music along to it.
Yeah, another great song and perfect example of like what punk can do, as far as like just like being equally ignorant, like not ignorant in the sense like not knowledgeable, but just like ignorant, like oh, like we're not gonna think we're just gonna like play music and just have fun, and then also have it charged with like messages. And that's what punk's all about too. A lot of punk started because it started from the bottom and like was just all about like talking about what was going on. Like it started with Sex Pistols talking about monarchy and British and what was going on in that country, and then over here in America you had like more like beach punk, which is like Agent Orange, Dead Kennedys, which are huge, stuff like that. Like punk actually started out by just sending a message very bluntly and literally. Like there was no more room to like poeticize it. I feel like a lot of this stuff is very like, as soon as I think it, it's just there, and there's no like, you don't have like, there's no reason to dive deeper. Like I'm literally telling you what it is. Like he said, I'm literally telling you what it is. It's literally kill people because money's worth more than your life. It was just born out of like angst, almost like when we were talking about hip hop, how rap was just like this gangster rap in the 90s with NWA. It was literally what it is, and that's why we talked about that, right? We were saying like hip hop.
Oh, they were
was, like,
painting a picture. Yeah,
it was literally punk for like disco and rap and stuff, like hip hop.
Yeah. So the rap was emerging from disco, and then punk was emerging from rock and roll, and they were coming up like in the same. They're coming up in New York, at the same time in the 70s, like in the, the little scummy clubs, bars, and stuff like that. Like they weren't like in the nice stuff, obviously.
Hell yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, it's so fun. Like thinking back, like when we talked about hip hop, I was like, yeah, maybe that's why I like, that kind of same hip hop. Just not because it's just straight up like just visceral and just pure like angst. I don't know. I'm such a big fan of intensity, and I think punk is so much fun. Yeah, so much fun. But here's the next track. We're about halfway through now. This one's called "I'm Not a Punk" by the Descendents, of course. What are your thoughts?
Dude, I feel like he's. Sorry, I choked a little bit. I feel like he's talking like, I don't know, maybe he might feel, obviously not like a poser, but at the same time feel like even though he's revolting and like a punk, is he really though? Because he's still here working, doing, you know what I mean? Like doing his shit, just like everyone else.
Yeah, yeah.
Differently, obviously, but like, really, is it that different?
Yeah. I think you're onto something. I was like, listening to this, I was thinking he was like being satirical and sarcastic, and like, I like that. I find them constantly referencing people that have probably talked shit to them. I like that they're just straight up with it.
Yeah.
Like,
or they're pretending to be him, talking from their point of view.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like they're being sarcastic. Like, yeah, I feel like you look at pictures of Descendents, like they're not dressed up like, you know, leather like the Ramones or like Sex Pistols. They're kind of just ordinary looking dudes. And I think even the vocalist, if I remember correctly, he wanted to be like a chemist or something, which is why
no way.
Yeah, one of his album covers, let me see here, I think it was, one of his album covers, it has like chemicals and stuff in it because he wanted to be a chemist, but he ended up being a punk singer, which is super cool. But yeah, I think they're just talking about,
my God.
like, yeah, it's super interesting, huh?
I'm looking at their picture, yeah, and you're right. He just looks like, they don't look like crazy.
Yeah,
They just look like a normal guy, super normal guy.
Yeah, not all dressed up. And I think they're kind of just talking about, like, I don't know, like just making the music, and to everyone else, they're just not going anywhere. And yet here they are, one of the most famous punk bands of all time. I mean, like, you ask anyone that's in the punk scene, they will know who the Descendents are. Just they're probably up there with Dead Kennedys, you know, same level of intelligence and politicism. And I like that he was, like, he's funny. Go ahead.
Even the cover of the album,
like,
I guess Milo, you know, he looks like a square. Just looks like a normal square guy.
A tie, some glasses.
I feel like in a way the lead singer probably identifies with that. Yeah. Also with like his punk side, obviously. Yeah,
just being chill, just mellowed out, just making music and enjoying it for what it is, and nothing more. Not trying to gatekeep or anything, you know. Like he says, try to be different, but it's always the same. End up playing someone else's game. That's like so funny to me. Like everybody wants to be different, and then because everybody's trying to be like proving to other people that they're different instead of just being.
Are they really different? Yeah.
They end up being the same because, well, they're just trying to prove themselves instead of just being who they are, and then they end up playing someone else's game, which I thought was like super smart. It's just he's a good writer, like, you know, and really good writer. The whole band who writes together.
He does have some intense lyrics for sure, dude.
Yeah, he's got political lyrics. He's got like introspective lyrics, but it's given to everybody in like a really like literal, blunt term, which is always fun. As I'm listening to it again and again with you, I feel like there's a lot to actually pull from these short snippets of music. I mean, look at what you talked about. We talked about growth and change and history and hip hop. I mean,
the lyrics really have a lot to say. So the lyrics are what we know bringing out a lot of the conversation. Yeah, so it's I agree.
So what we'll do is we're gonna stop here at halfway through because we want to give dedicated time, and then for everybody listening, we want to give everybody else time to like sit with the first half. And the next episode, the songs that are left. So we ended on "I'm Not a Punk," which is track 7 out of 15. We're gonna continue on with when you come back next week. We'll be doing Catalina, Suburban Home, which is one of my favorites, Statue of Liberty, Kabuki Girl, which is, I think, my favorite, Marriage, which is funny, Hope, Bikeage, and then the last song, Gene is Dead. So those songs will be for our part 2, just so we can have a nice organized analysis on the second half, because there was a lot to take in for this first half, you know. And I got to sit with it, and I got to listen to it again and again. Now that I've listened to the first half like that, I'm like, whoa, there's a lot to kind of pull from here. So next week, guys, we'll basically just be covering off the second half of this, and then we're gonna close it out with some other albums that we would like for you guys to listen to, that if you guys want to expand your punk palette, per se. But this album overall has been a lot of fun, and just this first hour of just listening to the first half, I mean, I've had a lot of fun just diving in and really pulling apart everything.
Right? I mean, like, the whole album is only 20 minutes, but, I mean, creates a lot more conversation than that, just half of it, obviously. But I'm excited for next week, man. It looks like Suburban Home looks like a really popular, good song. I'm excited to hear about that one.
Yep.
As well as Hope. Hope looks like it actually has
Yeah, it's one of the
You're
longer
Genius
ones.
at least. Yeah, it has a lot of
Yeah, Hope is good.
people looking into it.
Kabuki Girl is good too. So where can they find us, Caesar? Where can they keep up to date with us?
Yes, so make sure you're checking out our Instagram. We're keeping you guys posted with our links for the episodes. It's Tour of Music 104. Again, that's Tour of Music 104. We also have the same app for our YouTube page, again, where we post everything. But if you're on our Instagram, Tour of Music 104, you'll definitely be updated to everything going on.
Sounds good. All right, guys, stay tuned for next week. We'll be covering that second half. If you guys are as excited as we are, we're going to be really looking forward to covering out the second half of this album. It's a great album. Honestly, go check it out early if you like. But we'll be seeing you guys in 1 week. Take care, everybody.